Welcome to the AFL180, brought to you by Guru.com.au. Big injuries and bad performances in the AFL this week. We'll look at our predictions from last week and our top recruits in the AFL for 2013. I'm the betting guru, and I have with me the usual suspects. I've got Jono and Va. How's everyone today?
Oh, it's terrible. I got my first 5 tips of last week wrong, so eating crow this week.
And Jono is loving it.
Very happy with the outcome of last week.
We're talking about the Betting Guru Top Punter competition, so we've put a bet on each game for the season, and we're going to continue to do so. And at the moment, Jono is leading the way. He absolutely smashed it this week. Got almost everything. How did you go?
Yeah, well, started very well. Got the first, I think it was the first 5. Got the Maggies, got the Dogs, got the Roos, got the Lions, got the missed the Crows, unfortunately, but picked the Cats against my own Hawks. Another epic.
So you were the only ones to do that. We both picked the Hawks, and that bet was done with the sports bet promo, so you get your money back if it's under 20 points.
My saving grace this week.
And luckily,
from complete utter humiliation, yeah. And Swans and Freo let me down. Freo were very disappointing against the Saints, and the Swans really just, they did what they had to do.
Dogs versus GWS, that was a bit rough.
A bit tighter than expected.
Yes. Did I not say Dogs head-to-head after what they did against Melbourne? Don't know what they're going to throw up. And
very disappointed. Right. Very disappointed.
And Vovs, you also had Swans minus 59 and Freo minus 60.
Oh, I mean, I was watching that game thinking how's Freo not smashing St Kilda, but we actually played pretty well. Some good pressure.
St Kilda's been alright recently.
I think teams agreed, and I'm going to shock this week with my tip, but I think teams now are just doing what they need to do to get over the line, so I think maybe some of the bigger bets are going to no longer be in play so much.
And Bombers and Port could have kicked 5 behinds in a row when they were about 18 points down or less, and should have been in front and could have won the game.
Yeah, you locked in with that bet.
Oh, absolutely. Bombers kicked 3 goals in the last couple of minutes, which got me to the line. So yeah, once again, very happy.
Well, let's talk about the 2 biggest disappointments last week.
Me and you.
Well, apart from you two, yeah.
Apart from us two. Yeah. Well, I was the Carlton of last week, and you were the Richmond of last week. How do you feel as the Richmond last week about your performance?
I think you were the Richmond. You got flogged by more.
True.
At least I picked Collingwood. What did you pick?
Blues
head to head.
Correct.
Yeah. Come on.
No,
well, I will say this: Richmond were horrendous, absolutely horrendous. But I tipped North, and I tipped North 1-39, which I can't believe they smashed Richmond that heavily. But they just look shocking, and I don't know if Hooley out made that much of a difference for them.
I just cannot believe that the Roos started that game at $2.70.
Agreed.
Just ridiculous. I mean, Richmond really haven't beaten anyone this
year. But
if
they match up quite well on one another, I gotta say that, because North have got a deep midfield without having any superstars, but they run pretty deep. Good tolls, they match up pretty well. Richmond haven't got one superstar to really hurt them.
Yeah, that's right. They don't have a defence that can stand up there. And Richmond have still got some more big. They've got to play the Hawks still this year, so it's going to be a real test for them.
I think they'll still make the 8.
Oh, they'll make the 8. I don't doubt. But can they do anything in September? I think they'll be out first week.
I don't think they're as good as they think they're.
Well, but they've got Cochin struggling at the moment. They've got to get Cochin up and running. Yeah, but they're going to have an easy draw for the rest of the week, for the rest of the year.
Yeah, so they'll make it, but.
And then the other big disappointment was the Blues.
I got to tell you, 10 minutes into that match, I'm thinking, I can't believe I only went Carlton 1-39, and then Wade gets injured. And it's one player makes such a huge difference for them. They look a completely different team with a key forward. They're gone, absolutely gone. And their list is sliding. I don't think they're gonna.
So Carlton got rid of Brett Ratton to bring in Mick Malthouse because they believed, the board and the management believed, they had a team that was capable of finishing top 4, and right now they're in a worse position than they were last year. At the same time.
And the sad thing is, one of their key backers came out this week and absolutely slammed the recruiters and Bryce Gibbs and Cruiser for being terrible number 1 picks that were never developed. They're starting to turn on themselves. I love it. I hate Carlton. I hate them so much.
But you know, Malthouse will live through this. Because he's going to say, well, you sacked the coach last time and it didn't work. There's no point doing the same thing again.
No, he's not even going to say that. What he's going to say is, guys, I want to have my own run at this. I'll build the team my way. I did it at the Collingwood. I did it at the West Coast. You can all get stuff.
Carlton may actually be worse next year.
So you've overestimated the players.
I think St Kilda will be better sooner than Carlton will.
Wow.
All right, so last week we made a few predictions that were quite interesting.
Our Brownlow and our Coleman medal predictions.
So for the Brownlow, a couple of names were mentioned.
We killed off Watson. We
Watson.
got rid of him.
Correct.
Watson went down with an injury after about 5 minutes. He's gone for 4 to 6 weeks.
We took down Ablett as well.
Yeah.
I said Pendlebury was in for a show and he killed it against Carlton.
Mind you, Ablett will still win the Brownlow.
True.
He probably will, yeah, exactly. And he could probably stop now and still win the Brownlow.
Well, I still think Ablett will win the Brownlow because I don't have him in my Supercoach team and I hope nobody else has him after this week. Go Ablett, get injured.
And then Jack Rewalt just absolutely stunk it up and blamed his teammates. And
While Cloak kicked 5 goals.
Yeah, we all had him for the Coleman, and no one mentioned Cloak. And by the end of the round, he was second.
But we all spoke about Kennedy, and Kennedy's still absolutely killing it, including the game-winning goal against Adelaide on the run from 45 on the non-preferred foot with a minute left.
They did mention though on the radio that one thing that people didn't pick up on was the block that Josh Hill put on.
That's AFL.
That stopped. No, not a free kick block, but just to create the space for Kennedy. And Hill is not renowned for his 1% efforts. And
did it that time.
That was one thing that helped him get over the line.
It was a great game, and it does a lot for the 8. So that's killed off Adelaide pretty much.
Well, it's killed off Adelaide, but it's given
still
West Coast
West
some
Coast
hope.
a chance.
And a huge match this week, which we'll get to.
You feel that they're a team that if they do make the 8 and things go their way and they get their full team back, they could actually do something. More so than Richmond.
But they need to. Their players they've got players in and out every week. Kerr is out, Shuey's out, Waters is out, Hearn is out. Like they just keep coming. None of them can get any continuity.
So can I just interject here? Australia are now 9 for 140. Agar's got himself to 14.
Oh,
and
he's
is on 29.
Screw you, Australian cricket team. Screw you, Australian cricket selectors.
I'm glad we're sticking to the topic here.
Oh, we're gonna, John. Just keep us updated of what's going on in the cricket.
Good stuff. We looked at the Sporting Bet knockout competition just recently, Last Man Standing, and there's only 750 people left in the AFL competition now, out of the 25,000 that started.
The line is certainly sorting the men from the boys.
I can't believe my round 21 bet's going to be... prediction is going to be too short.
And if we're not sticking to the AFL, we can mention that the NRL one is down to 12 people. So
wow.
What's the prize in that?
It's 50 grand, so... That's already worth...
You've been nervous making your picks this week, I've got to tell you.
And half the people will be out each week, so it's only going to take a couple of rounds before somebody gets the 50 grand.
Head,
or you can have a week where all 12 get out, in which case it carries on to the next week.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting. All right.
Really, so if there's no one that goes through, everyone stays in?
That's right.
Wow.
So you could actually miss out and still, if you're lucky enough, you can still get through.
Yeah.
Which could happen once you get down to like a last 10. So this week, the topic is top AFL
top
recruits, not pickups. Apparently that's something altogether different. So who wants to go first? Who's got the top AFL picks for 2013?
Well, I think we were just talking about just new players to the club in general, so this includes national draft as well as just new recruits to the club. And I think there's some clear standouts for the draft, but I'll just start with the new recruits. And I think John has got a bigger list than I, but my four, the four I've got on my list, first of all, Lake. I think Lake has just been a godsend for Hawthorn, so I think he's my recruit of the year. And they didn't get him for a very expensive price either. Turlick for Melbourne, mainly from a Supercoach point of view.
Becoming the number one player.
Correct.
Took a great mark going backwards last week as well.
And taken with pick 68 in the draft. If that's not value, I don't know what it is.
Melbourne made the right draft decisions.
But he was a made player. Like, he was a full package before.
Yeah. Oh, they need to recruit some more experience, yeah.
He's just been fantastic. Just gives them run.
Plus, he's actually plays tough. He
Yeah.
mans up and he runs off a little. He's actually a very good halfback, back pocket. Like, they got that position set for a little while. And the two other ones I got is Chaplin at Richmond, who I don't think has been that amazing, but he's given them he's made Rance a second defender now, so he's improved that significantly. And Robertson at St Kilda. I think he's been probably our second or third best player.
What about the other Richmond tall? What's his name? Had a massive game last week.
The Big O? Come on, Jono.
The Big O. Oren Stephenson.
Oren Stephenson.
No. The other guy.
Who?
With the hair.
With the hair.
Yvonne Marriage.
No.
Vickery.
Yes.
He's been there for like 4 years.
No, is it?
Who?
I've never noticed him before.
Betting guru doesn't know his football. Jono, who have you got for recruits of the year, not national draft excluded?
Yeah, look, so we're excluding the draft, are we?
We'll do a second bit for the draft.
Right, okay, fair enough. Well, recruits Goddard, I think, has been brilliant for Essendon. Not, on the field he's been good, but I think
Everyone forgot Goddard.
I haven't forgotten him. I'll
I
address
think
that.
the leadership that he's brought to the team and what he's been able to do for the club off the field by taking a lot of the media that has come Essendon's way off the back of the drug scandal this year. He's actually been the face of the club more so than Joe Watson.
You're right, but he can afford to do that because he was the only one that wasn't jabbed.
I know exactly, but but
that's a good story for him.
but he's allowed Essendon to focus on playing football and currently be third on the ladder.
Yeah.
And he fills a gap that Essendon needed in their playing list as well.
All right, fair enough.
So Lake as well, I agree with you on that one. I think Maloney has been really good for Brisbane, providing an extra hard midfielder.
I'd agree with you, right? But Voss ruins this for me because I don't want to give credit to Voss because the guy's a moron. Like in terms of being a coach, he has got the makings of a pretty decent midfield. If you can put Maloney in there, put Hanley in there with Rockcliffe, they could actually be doing something. But at the moment, I think a lot of Maloney's numbers come from the fact that he's playing with a bunch of kids that don't know how else to get the ball. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Who's a bigger moron? Mark Neild for getting rid of Maloney? Or
I don't think he was happy
Michael
there.
Voss
I don't
in
think
in
they
coaching?
had that much of a chance.
just in general.
Okay, go
He
on.
wasn't happy because of the
He wasn't
of the
happy.
coach.
Yeah.
Because of the coach.
there.
And then look, I'll give a little bit of credit to Port Adelaide, who got Monfries as a free agent, and who's filled a nice hole for them and brought some seniority to a really young list. And they did a great little swap where they traded pick 29 to GWS and got Homsch and Need.
Yep.
For pick 29, which I think is a great result for them. Just as a value pick as far as recruits for the year.
I got to tell you, there's been, just on a side note, teams have done very well in exploiting GWS and Gold Coast recently. So that trade went down. The Saints got like Saad and pick 25 for pick 20 and something. They've done a very good job of exploiting GWS and Gold Coast, which you need to do. Because they're going to have some gun youngsters.
Yeah, that's right, because they're exploiting everybody else with the
Correct.
extra salary cap.
Well, GWS came out a couple of weeks ago saying that Melbourne clubs aren't doing well enough to, actually trade with them properly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and if we kick on to draft recruits, I mean, Jaeger O'Meara, yes, he was picked up last year by Gold Coast, but why a Melbourne club didn't trade a senior player to try and get a kid like that?
John, I don't
Gold
think
Coast gave away pick 4 to get him, but he'd be a number 1 draft pick in any other draft.
Agreed, but they never made him available. It was as simple as that. They would have I think any club would have given up anything to get him. His raps before, he was already well known as being a gun AFL player the year before. But go on.
Yeah.
All right.
And then the other, I guess, a couple of mini draft, Jesse Hogan that Melbourne picked up this year. I think there's massive raps on him.
Way too early.
We don't know yet, but there's massive rap. And Brad Crouch was also got in the mini draft, and
He's only had one game so far.
And Luke Brown came with. Brown came with that pick as well.
The other two, which I'm impressed with, Ollie Wines is an absolute beast. He's going to be an amazing midfielder.
Value at number 7.
Yeah, and Vlosten.
More value at number 9.
Yeah.
And then, look, there's a couple of other, I think Jake Stringer at pick 5. Turlick we mentioned. Jack Viney at pick 26 is just ridiculously.
They manipulated the draft.
Yeah.
Good job by Melbourne, but that's just cheating.
Nick Palmer at pick 73.
Agreed.
And then there was a couple of rookie and pre-season drafts. You had Tippett, Brett Goods, Sam Dwyer.
You don't have to list everyone. What was good?
No, I'm just saying, like Tippett, come on.
Tippett's only played 2 games.
Yeah, and he's been great in both games. Brett Goods, he's been brilliant, and Sam Dwyer for Collingwood, he's been
very
we forgot about Dwyer.
He has been good.
Very good.
He looks like he's a guy that could be Johnston style. It's a kind of a forward, but can rack up a lot of possessions.
But I got to tell you, one complaint about Collingwood, just generally, they look a very small team. Is it just me? Or is it a whole
they've got
bunch
a lot
of
of
tiny guys?
Yeah.
Sinclair, Dwyer...
Meanwhile, I'm not sure if you watched the Legends game, but Monkhurst is not a little guy.
There's not too many little guys.
That was hilarious, watching Liberatore and Monkhurst go around together.
I forgot how small Libba was.
He's
a tiny, tiny little man.
So funny. Just want to mention, if we're talking about good recruits, bad recruits, Roden's been dropped again. He's going in and out. Melbourne's picked him up. Roden and Burns, who's a couple of injuries, he's played 1 good game, but they're just not getting any value out of those pickups.
So, some of the draft picks were great, with the Hogans and the Tumpuses and Turlicks and the like. And Matt Jones is another one who they got at 52. But then you look at what they traded for, Pedersen and Roden.
He's not even making the team.
Burns, none of them are playing. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. All right. Now...
9 for 150 while you pause.
Wow.
Go Agar.
That is unbelievable.
Alright, so should we get to the tips this
Australian tail making more runs than the top order.
More
again,
unusual.
Obviously. Alright, so let's have a look at our tips for next week. Let's have a look. Round
16.
Round 16.
Yeah, but so a Friday night game.
Collingwood versus Adelaide.
In Melbourne at the MCG. Who have you got?
Well, I'm not on the Collingwood bandwagon by any stretch, but I'm also not far away from the Adelaide bandwagon. I'm taking Collingwood at the line of minus 32.5 just because it's in Melbourne.
Okay.
Taking Collingwood at the line of minus 28.5. Have you got the extended line?
Yep.
Right.
Alright, we'll sort that out later. I've got the Pies head to head. And if you think that's a conservative tip, you wait till my next.
However, Betting Guru, if you do find Collingwood at the line of 15.5 or something, be sure to let us know. Yeah.
No problem. All right, Port Adelaide at home to Hawthorn.
I like Port Adelaide at home. They seem to do pretty well in front of the crowd.
What are you betting on?
Love it. Love them. I'm taking Port with a 25.5 point head start.
You're taking Port. I'm going the other way. I think the Hawks, after losing to Geelong, they've dropped Brad Sewell this week. They've made a big call there, and I just think that they're going to be angry, and I think Port are going to cop it, and minus 25.5 the other way.
Being in Adelaide doesn't do much for you?
No.
Oh, fair enough.
All right, so you're going to not like my bet, which is Port head to head at $4.60.
That's not a bad bet.
They're at home. They've beaten 2 really good sides at home.
Mm-hmm.
Hawthorn coming off a loss will definitely be upset about that, but we'll see what happens. Next match.
That game could be
the swinger this week.
Could be a swinger this week.
Oh, I'm happy to lose 10 on that. I've got more stuff up my sleeve. Cats versus D's. I remember watching this one when I was a kid, and it was something like 130 point difference, and then that was dwarfed by
186 points.
Geelong just happens to absolutely destroy Melbourne. They've got Corey and Enright and Christensen all out.
How annoying!
They get Johnson back in.
How annoying is Geelong? They lose Corey, Enright, and Christensen, and they get Johnson, Varco, and Billy Smeds. Like, seriously,
I hate them so much.
They're very deep.
No, I really like them, except for the 2009 Grand Final. Geelong by plenty, minus 66.5. So he extends the line.
Snap. Ditto. Same.
I'm kind of good. I'm happy this week. Jono's clearly been killing it, so I'm going with a good horse this week. I'm
going for Cats at halftime and Cats at full time.
And what are you getting on that?
105.
$1.05. Wow.
Solid.
Going to value.
Richmond versus Gold Coast Suns. That's at Kaz.
That's because they say him.
That's it because they.
Yeah, and I love the fact this is a Richmond home game.
Yeah, Richmond sold their home game to Cairns.
Yeah. I'm taking. I've been
That's
burned by
more-
Gold Coast
surely
many
that's
times.
Gold Coast won this game last year
Yes.
with a kick after the siren.
By Harmichael,
By
which I like.
Harmichael, yes.
I'm taking Gold Coast plus 23.5 points.
I think Richmond will win. No idea by how much, so I'm just taking them head to head.
Right, now I'm glad you mentioned the Harmichael thing because I've taken Tigers at halftime and Suns at full time for odds of 13 to 1. If that happens, which is very unlikely, I'll go from mediocrity to the lead.
Have you given up trying to win this,
I
this competition?
really like the fact that I'm going to get an extra $10 on Michael this week.
Yeah.
It makes me happy.
Anyway, if the Suns win, you both lose anyway.
good.
Huh?
Correct.
Okay,
No, well, if the Suns, I've got Suns plus 23.5. So
then I'll track that comment. Okay, Carlton versus St Kilda, Etihad Stadium, Saturday night.
Saints 1-39. Go boys.
Wow. Really?
I hate Carlton, like for a lot of reasons, just personally. But I don't think they're that good. Waite is out this week. They're replacing him with Rowe. For the first time in a long time, I'm not afraid of the other team's forward line. Saints.
The
1-39.
amazing thing, Waite and Casbolt, who are basically playing full forward and centre half forward for them last week, are out, and they've brought in Sam Rowe for his fourth game or something, and Heath Scotland and Batman. Who's going to kick their goals?
Oh, they're still playing against St Kilda backline.
Well,
right?
this is true.
So
Meanwhile, there's big ins for St Kilda.
Yeah, couple of well-known
Just
names.
Rewalt and Milne.
Yeah.
Just want to obviously mention Milne. It's not injury that he's coming back from. It's a rape charge.
No,
now,
but he's had his day in court, and they've got a time. They've got a date to go to trial. So
we probably shouldn't rehash that issue too much.
no, absolutely right.
Look, I'm
As
taking.
long as he's goes on that date and acts responsibly.
I'm pretty
anyway.
sure that Carlton fans will let him know what he allegedly
Well,
did.
if
they
all
will let
games
him
for him
know.
to come back to, Carlton fans will let him know.
Seriously, who's the only fan base that's worse? I think potentially Collingwood or Adelaide.
And Richmond.
Oh, yeah, we'll see. All right,
So I'm taking Carlton at the line,
what's the line?
18.5.
Alright.
I think if they're going to win it, they'll win it by more than 3 goals.
And I think St Kilda's going to win it. They've been in really good form recently in all their losses, but I reckon this time they'll get over the line. Seriously, Carlton was so insipid last week.
Oh, it's terrible. By the way, can I just suggest here that the betting guru got worse odds on his 1-39 bet than I did?
No, we'll sort that out. Don't worry.
I'm just saying in general. It's just so you know who your betting guru is.
Don't worry, that won't stick. All right, Lions versus North Melbourne at the Gabba.
Got no idea with this game. I'm taking North head to head. Just no idea.
So am I. So
I'm taking North 1-39.
This is the thing. Brisbane could win. Even with Maloney out, they could seriously win.
they could,
But
you can also see Kangas winning by 60.
But or 100. It's just one of those games. But I think Brisbane will be relatively competitive at home, and North 1-39. But that's who knows.
All right, all Sydney derby. Sydney versus GWS.
I consider taking Sydney head to head at 1-0-0-1, but it feels wrong. It feels like something the betting guru would do. So I took Sydney at the Sydney with a -75.5 point head start.
I'm taking Sydney 40 plus. They've brought in Tim Membry for his first game, Jesse White, Harry Cunningham, whoever he is, and Xavier Richards for his second game. They might just play a couple of kids this week and rest a couple of their senior players, which could cause havoc for Dream Teamers. We just don't know.
Meanwhile, GWS is bringing in 8 players.
But this is the thing. I like what they're doing. They're constantly rotating players in and out. Just in and out, in and out. Nobody has to get
happy
too...
with that for the Australian cricket team as well.
I wish they just rotate them all out and nobody come back in. By the way, how are we doing?
So we are currently 9 for 164.
No way.
What's Agar got?
Agar is catching up to Hughes. Hughes is on 36 and Agar's on 31 off 32 deliveries.
Oh, our batsman.
With a 6, mind you. He's hit a 6.
Oh, why aren't we watching this? All right, we'll get back to it soon.
Now, I've gone the other way. I've got Swans 1 to 39 at $6.40.
Not a bad
So
bet.
that's another
$12.39.
massive bet, and I'm hoping that after slapping them around in the first half, they'll kind of slow down and want to avoid injury.
So I took Swans 40 plus. I can't remember if I said that, but I think they'll win comfortably, but I don't know whether they'll cover the line.
All right, Dogs versus Dons.
Might not be a bad game. And I'm taking Bullies with a 39.5 point head start. Watson out is obviously a big out, but I don't know. I didn't like Essendon last week much.
Always talking about what you like and don't like. Just give us your...
Western Bulldogs plus 39.5.
I'm taking Essendon at the line of the line at the moment at 39.5, but the 40 plus, which is effectively the same bet, is paying 6 cents less. So I'm definitely going to take the line.
Good stuff. I will take the line as well. Dons minus. Last game, Eagles versus Dockers, another derby out in Western Australia.
The big
It's
one.
going to be close, right?
I cannot wait for this match. Love it. West Coast 1 to 39.
Get with your West Coast.
I love West Coast. I don't know. What can I tell you? I think they're a good team.
They got up for you at the against Adelaide last week, didn't they? So you're gonna back them again.
Well, they burnt me against Essendon, which they shouldn't have burnt me on. So yes, I'm going to back them again. I'm getting $3.10 at West Coast 1 to 39.
Okay.
I'm taking Freo at the line. It's a short line of 11.5 points. I think if they're going to win, they'll win by more than a couple of goals. So this could be. Sorry, do you?
I'm going Dockers 1 to 39, so we're all kind of skirted around it. So.
Yeah, so this could be a lot of big movers this week.
Yeah.
All around. There's lots of different bets.
Especially if my Tigers Suns thing comes off.
It's not getting easier.
If your Tiger Suns thing
that'll be $130 right there.
The betting guru can get stuffed. He, for the record, has sprung this on us about 3 minutes before the podcast.
Yeah. that we were introducing half-time, full-time bet.
Yeah, we're just going to make it a bit more interesting. You know?
Well, it's clear that the betting guru is actually the Australian cricket team of this podcast, so congratulations. And speaking of that, I think we should wrap this up and go watch Agar smash the palms to all parts of the ground.
So thank you very much. Good night.